end to crises.
The treaty is due to enter into force once 50 countries have presented proof of ratification to the United Nations. At least 44 countries have so far ratified the treaty. United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon said that even modest, early UN action could be important when it had full support from the Security Council. The Council unanimously adopted a resolution expressing determination to prevent armed conflict as part of its primary responsibility to maintain international peace and security.
When we come back on The World Today, we'll fill you in on the latest concerning the Ebola virus. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching The World Today on Channels Television. We now shift our attention to the African continent, and of course we begin right here in Nigeria. The Minister of Health has confirmed 2 new cases of Ebola virus disease in Nigeria. Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu told journalists in Abuja that the new cases are secondary contacts of the Liberian-American Patrick Sawyer, who died in the country in July. Professor Chukwu explained that the 2 patients are spouses of 2 deaths from those who had primary contact with the late Mr. Sawyer. This now brings to 4 the total number of Ebola patients currently isolated for treatment in Lagos State.
Isolation ward in Lagos. This also means cases of Ebola virus disease in secondary contacts of the index case, that is the Liberian American. The 2 patients are spouses of the primary contacts of the Liberian American, and they are among the secondary contacts who have been under surveillance. This now brings to 4 the total number of Ebola viral disease patients currently under treatment at the isolation ward in Lagos. This also means that the total number of cases of Ebola viral disease so far recorded in the country is 14, that is including the index case. The number of deaths still remains at 5, while the number of those successfully managed and discharged also remains at 5. The federal government, working with the Lagos State government and other partners, will continue to maintain vigilance, continue to strengthen our containment activities, and wishes to reassure the Nigerian public and the global community that efforts will not relent until the very last case of the Ebola virus disease is seen in Nigeria. There's no way I can stay here and say we have gotten all secondary contacts. But every day, that's why the number keeps increasing, we are getting to it because it's contact tracing. There's a separate team, once we have made contact, that then follows up. But there's a separate team that does the tracing. Sometimes people may lie, like when the Liberian American came, he was lying to everybody. He's never had any contact with anybody. No, it's okay. But unless you have a way of knowing what is in the person's thoughts, sometimes it's difficult. But the fact that each day we're able to at least trace an additional secondary contact shows we are not sleeping. But there's no way I can say honestly and say, absolutely, we have captured all secondary contacts. It's always the risk in any country. Any group, and when I say any country, absolutely any country in the world is the risk.
The Nigerian Minister of Health, Professor Onyebuchi Chukwu. Well, for more on the Ebola situation, I'm now being joined live from California by Dr. Nkem Chukwumerije, who is the president for the Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas. Doctor, thank you for speaking with us on The World Today. Now, I'd first of all like to ask you about the U.S. aid workers who have been discharged. Could we attribute their recovery to just the ZMapp, the experimental drug, or is there actually more to it?
Yes, thank you very much for having me on. With regards to the doctors that were just released, their recovery cannot just be attributed to the ZMapp alone. I think the main primary cornerstone for treatment for the Ebola virus disease is aggressive supportive therapy. So I think we shouldn't forget that. The main thing was the aggressive supportive therapy. The ZMapp could have helped, but like you know, it's not been subjected to appropriate experimental protocol to attribute the recovery to ZMapp alone. So aggressive supportive therapy will be the primary cornerstone.
Now, Doctor, I want to ask you concerning, us here in Nigeria, what more besides, the personal hygiene and all these precautionary measures, what more could we do to actually, cause us to have more success cases on our part?
I think what we can do is, number one, I think we have to make sure that the workplace is safe for the healthcare professionals, meaning that we have to provide them with the personal protective equipment. And with that, we can have healthcare workers that feel, that they can go safely to treat patients. Then the second thing is the patient safety, making sure we have everything necessary or equipment necessary, not only to aggressively rehydrate the patients, but also to give them all supportive therapy that is needed. So we need an effective and efficient laboratory to make sure that we are testing for the electrolytes that might be low, and then providing the replacement that is needed. So there is a lot that can be done, but a lot of it has to do with the level of the healthcare delivery system that you have in place. So again, it's really making sure that the healthcare professionals are well protected, and then gives them the confidence, and then give them the tools then, to aggressively support these patients. It's just like somebody who has cholera, for example. If you have the appropriate replacement, you can have the therapy for fever, etc. Then you give the person a chance for their immune system to actually, recover, and then hopefully that could result in better outcomes for us.
Doctor, thank you so much for speaking with us on The World Today. We appreciate your time. We've been speaking to Dr. Nkem Chukwumerije, who is the President Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas. Thank you very much. Now, finally, before we draw the curtains on The World Today, if you're active on Facebook and Twitter in particular, then you would have noticed that the Ice Bucket Challenge, sometimes called the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, is trending. Now, here's what it's all about.
It's Friday, and this is how bank workers in Thailand decided to cool things off after a stressful week, and in the process raise money and awareness for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, by joining in on the Ice Bucket Challenge. The initiative involves people posting videos of themselves being drenched in ice water and challenging others to take the plunge as well. The Ice Bucket Challenge has gone viral on the internet and has included celebrities and other high-profile figures. ALS affects the function of the nerves and muscles, and those suffering from the disease may eventually lose the ability to control their movements. Around 50 employees of Bangkok Bank took part in the challenge today, raising about $2,700. Akio Toyoda, the head of the world's largest auto manufacturer, Toyota, takes up the Ice Bucket Challenge for victims of ALS. Billionaire founder and CEO of Japan's third largest mobile carrier, SoftBank Corp, Masayoshi Son, doused himself in ice water on Wednesday. Following a concert at the Tokyo Dome, Japanese female pop group AKB48 kicked off the challenge with their producer Yasushi Akimoto. The Ice Bucket Challenge has been going viral on the internet and has included celebrities and other high-profile figures, including former U.S. President George Bush.
I've been challenged by several Americans to bring awareness to the ALS campaign. Woody Johnson, our daughter Jenna Bush Hager, Coach Jim Harbaugh, and recently Rory McIlroy. Now, to you all who've challenged me, I do not think it's presidential for me to be splashed with ice water, so I'm simply going to write you a check.
That check is for me. I don't want to ruin my hairstyle.
All the pouring has certainly paid off, as the website says it has received over $30 million compared to less than $2 million raised at the same period last year.
Well, just like the former First Lady of the United States, I'm very conscious about my hairstyle. I'm not pouring any ice water on myself. Thank you for joining us on The World Today. That's it. I'm Cynthia Are. Up next is Sports News.